The winter season is in second half, and we want to talk all things Indian Hill Braves with AD Brian Phelps. Good morning, Brian. How we doing?
Good morning. Doing great, Rob.
I heard 55 and rainy on Thursday, so spring is a little closer.
My kids aren't loving that. They've enjoyed playing out in the snow, but I'll take 55.
Thank you. You and I, as we get older, I understand why people move to Florida in the winter now. It's starting to make sense to me.
Well, there's days that we miss Texas, no doubt about it. The couple of years we spent down there, and this is one of those weeks.
Yes. Hey, let's start. Let's go through the teams and give the fans an update on where we are. We'll start with boys basketball, and they have played. Coach has got just an unbelievable schedule, and I believe it will pay dividends by the time you get to tournament play. But tough loss last Friday to Marymount at home. This week have Deer Park at home, and that's the only game this week. So a chance to get there and practice, work on some X's and O's, get your legs back, and let's talk boys basketball.
Yeah, we knocked off Deer Park on youth night this past Friday, and then we will get to host Reading this Friday night, and it'll be it's also Hall of Fame night, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But we had a really nice game at Reading the first time we played. So we're looking forward to having them. Hopefully we can play well again. But last Friday night against Deer Park was a fun night for us. It was youth night, one big, lots of kids got in the game. And, you talked about the strength of schedule, which no doubt we scheduled up. And it just got out of a SWOTA meeting. It will be interesting moving forward, the way that we're doing seeding now for basketball. Basically, you get penalized for not winning. So, right now there's not a strength of schedule component in that. So as we move forward, to be 11-11 and be able to put that in your comments and people recognize you're playing a Mater Dei and, some of the other schools doesn't really matter. It may matter for your team to be tested a little bit, but when it comes to the seeding, we just talked about this weekend that we're going to have to think about how we schedule moving forward to make sure that we don't have too many losses on the schedule.
Interesting. So it's a complete opposite from football. Football, you can go and schedule anybody, and the losses don't affect you. In those non-league games. Whereas now in basketball, the way it's designed, when you guys go to Palm Springs and play the cream of the crop and take a couple L's, it could hurt you in tournament time.
Yeah, that's right. And also if you play an international team, or even if you play like an Oak Hill Academy, that's not part of a state association, that gives you no points. So it'll be interesting how this is the first year this has been implemented. We'll see if it's the right way to do it, if it needs to be tweaked, adjusted. I think that Southwest District hasn't been fully in favor of the new change, but we'll have to live it for a year and see what the pros and cons are of it.
Well, hopefully they'll be receptive to feedback, because I'm sure the kids, I'm looking at the boys' schedule, St. X, Mater Dei, LaSalle. I mean, this is a really nice schedule that the kids probably love playing in those games.
Well, and like when we went to Palm Springs in California over the break, we elected being a top division. There were 5 divisions in this tournament, and for exactly those reasons. Now, we may need to think about what that looks like. Maybe we need to be in a lower division where we can come out of a tournament like that 3-1 or 4-0 versus, come back feeling battle tested.
Interesting. That would be a great podcast topic to get Coach Hill to talk about at the end of the season, to see his thoughts on, because I'm sure he wants to schedule the best to make his team better.
That's right. And he's District 16 rep for basketball, so he's in the know and in those meetings. So yeah, I think that would be a great idea to get his thoughts once we get through this season of what worked well and where we need to improve.
Yeah, sounds great. Well, best of luck to the team this week. Let's go to the girls' side. Let's see. This week, if I read this right, hosting Reading on Wednesday, and two home games in Finneytown on Saturday. So two CHL home games and a chance to get back on the winning side of the ledger.
Yeah, and this Wednesday, senior night, it's crazy to think about.
Wow.
It's already that time. We have two youth nights under our belt. Senior nights start this Wednesday with the girls. The boys will be next week. It's just amazing how quickly the season goes, and we're already, towards the end of January talking about, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, figuring out what our seeds are for the tournament and planning for postseason play.
I know we talked about youth nights during the football season when we were doing our shows in the fall. It's got to be gratifying as an administrator to see how many kids come out and participate in those youth nights for boys and girls basketball, and just see the healthiness of athletics in Indian Hill.
Well, Rachel Smith did such a great job with the girls last week and when we hosted, and she has a lot of fun activities, and the kids just come out and really have a good time. And then this last Friday, we do it differently. We had the snow day. We weren't sure what kind of turnout, and it was awesome, and where the girls, we've got some face painting going on and cotton candy. The boys, halftime, they're out playing knockout and kill the man and or what, and it's
Sure.
just such a fun vibe, and to see that many little kids running around and having fun, and that's what it's about. We talk a lot about building community and being program directors and program builders, and that's what we're trying to do, whether you're a first or second grader or a senior getting ready to be recognized on senior night.
Yeah, it's really awesome stuff, Brian. Really awesome. Let's dive into the pool. Let's talk swimming. I know the Coaches Classic just wrapped up, and it looks like you guys are hosting the Indian Hill Invitational coming up this weekend, and we're tapering, getting ready for tournament time. It's that time.
Yeah, then actually the Indian Hill Invitational was just this past
Oh,
weekend at St. X at Keating Natatorium, and it was great, kind of for the first annual, doing it that way. Four teams had some really great results, and I feel like we talk about this every week. These are the kinds of things that get some kids comfortable with their strokes and some experience in the pool, and it's all gearing up for the CHL tournament, which is just around the corner, and getting into the rest of postseason play with the OHSAA tournament.
yeah, best of luck to them this week, and as they get ready for the tournament. Let's go to the mat and talk wrestling.
Yeah, boys just came back from Brookville the week before, had a nice tournament win out of 17 teams. So Coach Iger and Joe Castaneer, who's leading our wrestling programs, are really excited about the kids that we have. We have a good mix of some young talent and some older kids. So they're really excited about the CHL tournament coming around, especially for some individuals. And the plan is, the goal is to be wrestling at the state tournament with a few kids. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it sounds great. Let's go to the lanes and talk bowling. I know it's a new sport in Indian Hill, but it's just I love this sport in the winter. I think it's great that people are putting on the Indian Hill shirt that may not be participating in a sport at school, and I just think it's a great new sport for the OHSA.
Yeah, our girls got their second win last week, which was a lot of fun. And, it is a new sport. We have a mix of younger kids and some older kids, but really there is a bright future for bowling here at Indian Hill. Our younger kids are really developing, and we have some kids in the middle school even that we're really excited about to get here next year. And, all schools in our league except for one school offers bowling. So it has really taken off. It's not just a few schools anymore. Most leagues offer bowling, and a lot of teams in those leagues participate. So it's great to see the sport grow and our kids enjoying it. And we're going to keep offering things that our kids want to participate in. And, I really believe whatever we are going to offer, we're going to build it into being a competitive program.
It's interesting when I drive around on the weekends and pass some of the bowling lanes that are still operable, and they're packed. They're all packed, whether it's Matty Bowl or Crossgate or Western. I think it has a lot to do with the high school high school offering bowling now, and the kids grow up, and it's still something you can do the rest of your life, and it's a skill and it's a social event, and I think it's great.
You know, bowling is what golf used to be, and this is what I mean by that. The houses, the bowling alleys, the bowling houses really do a good job making sure teams, schools have lane time. You know, those are their clients and their future clients to getting in leagues. And I think our local, especially country clubs, used to do such a great job opening the course, even if it was just on Monday, making sure that that schools had an opportunity to play at great courses. And we're really finding that not to be the case. There
Really?
may be some schools that kind of corner the market, if you will, and kind of take the course time. But we're the last couple years as we work on scheduling, it's amazing how many country clubs and other courses really kind of turn us away from having any kind of consistent home course. So that's what we're looking at right now. I applaud the bowling alleys of making sure they're carving out time for high school kids, you know, to learn the sport and have a great experience. So hopefully golf gets back to that as well.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that because you're hearing about country clubs closing because they can't make ends meet, and you think that they might want to look at their model.
I agree.
All right, gymnastics. I know we have one student athlete from Indian Hill that participates in gymnastics at Cincinnati Country Day. Let's wrap up the sport review with gymnastics.
Yeah, Samantha Rozakis keeps on keeping on, and it was last weekend. Had the opportunity to see her compete at Cincinnati Country Day, and each week there's an opportunity for her to get better, and hopefully she can go a couple weeks once the tournament time comes.
Yeah, best of luck to her. That's great. Well, we got a few other items to go through besides sports in this week's show. First and foremost, this week, Indian Hill Hall of Fame.
Yeah, this Friday night, the Reading game, we welcome back some of our all-time greats, Dan Murphy, which was back in the day, and Ted Bolser, who had just an unbelievable career here at Indian Hill and went on to play for the Washington at that time Redskins, and then longtime coach and was even AD for a little bit, Kevin Seipel. Those three will be honored this Friday. So we have a nice presentation in our auditorium, kind of during the JV game. Actually, doors open at 5:30, and then we will recognize them again at halftime of the varsity game. So we encourage all of Brave Nation to come out and not only watch our boys get after it versus Reading, but to honor some true legacies here at Indian Hill and those three individuals.
That's great. I know the second annual Indian Hill Euchre tournament is close, and there's a few chairs available because there's
Yeah,
a limit.
last year was the first time we kicked off a euchre tournament. We hosted at Kenwood Country Club, February 10th. I just got online this morning. We have a very strict 80 spots or 80 seats for the tournament, and we've sold 65 of those. So if anyone's out there that likes euchre and wants to play on February 10th, I would say sign up sooner than later, because once those 80 seats fill, there's no more room.
Is that on the booster website?
Yeah, athletic website, indianhillbraves.org, under tickets. You can go there to register, and it's all through hometown ticketing. But just like you would buy a ticket for a basketball game, you know, football game, that kind of stuff, that's where you're going to find the euchre registration as well.
Perfect. And then you've got some news about the field house, just some updates for the fans on the field house for Indian Hill.
We're getting close. Every Tuesday we have a construction meeting with our architect and construction team, and just tweaking renderings and making sure that it's exactly the facility that we want. February 16th, the board will have their official vote. Financially, we have had just some amazing private partners to get us to where we are. We're still chasing a little bit of money, a couple $1,000,000 to kind of really start sleeping a little bit better at night. But we have, I just cannot be more thankful for our community stepping up to make sure that this is a reality for our student athletes. It's going to be a one-of-a-kind facility. I would challenge anyone to say there's one better, at least in Southwest Ohio. Really excited what this is going to do for our kids and our community.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. So more updates as we cross those dates. Well, Brian, thanks for your time. We'll do this 4 weeks in a row, get everybody up to speed with everything Indian Hill Braves. As always, I appreciate your time and have a great week.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob.